And then added to that, in order to make this, the points that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making accessible or understandable to contemporary people. Because so many of the ideas that he throws out are just like so deeply embedded in Vaishnava philosophy that for them to make sense, well, why is he talking about this? I had to put so much supplementary material to introduce the topic so that contemporary people could even understand. So this will be part of our Bhakti Vedanta course program in our university. So to get to that point, a devotee has to study for many, many years. That means they have to remain steady for many, many years. That means they have to be a part of a community, because it's very difficult to be a devotee in isolation. We're surrounded by so much nonsense in this Western society. We were just traveling on the train, and so many nonsense people and just rascal attitudes and bad energy and insult, and people have no respect even in a public place for spiritual people. Or it used to be when I was growing up, if someone was visibly, recognizably a member of the clergy, that people would give them some respect. Now they don't get any respect at all. They're just normal people, or even they're considered weird because they're living a religious life, not a life of cats and dogs, sense gratification. So we live in this society, this cat and dog society. So there's a tendency to think that, well, I can get away with, independent thinking or independent action, and Babaji can't do anything about it. And you're right, I can't do anything about it. You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But you don't have to say it or do it as a member of our community, because we don't endorse activities or statements that are outside of the Vaishnava philosophy. And especially when we see someone who has been a devotee only a few months or a couple of years try to argue and put forward the conflicting philosophy or refuse to take instruction, or worst of all, to take initiation and then refuse to take instruction, or then to argue a different philosophy. We don't permit this. We don't accept this in our association. Because our association is based, as we've been discussing the last few days, on the principle of truthfulness. And truthfulness means, first of all, that we accept Vedas. We accept Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad-gītā. And Krishna says, Tadvidi paripratena, pariprashnena sevaya. Pranipatena, pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshanti te jnanam, jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. If you want to know the truth, you have to approach someone who knows that truth. Someone, meaning a real person who is present, not just a book. He doesn't say, if you want to know the truth, go off and read a book. No. He says, approach a person. Upadek. Upadek. Kshanti. Te. You approach this person who knows the truth. A jnaninam. A jnaninam is a person who knows the truth. Jnaninas tattvadarshana. Someone who has seen. Someone who has seen. That this person can show you. He can give you tattva-darshana. He can show you the truth. So Prabhupada, of course, when he was with us, he was a pure devotee, and we were very, very blessed to have the service of his lotus feet directly for several years, and then in separation for many more years. But actually we don't consider that we were separated because we had his direct personal instruction to become guru after finishing our personal sadhana. His confidential instruction was given just at the time of his disappearance. Just like Srila Prabhupada was given confidential instruction by Bhakti Siddhanta just before his disappearance. That he said, there will be a fire in the Gaudiya Math. Get out. Don't associate yourself. Work independently, work on your own. And he also told him to, if you ever get money, print books. So, similarly, at the time of Srila Prabhupada's passing from this world, he sent a message to me through a trusted intermediary, his sister, that you leave this ISKCON and you go into hiding for 25 years, finish your sadhana, and then you can preach all over the world. You will only make a few disciples, but those disciples will go on to preach very widely. And that's fine. So that's what we're doing. We're using whatever means is available, the internet. Kṛṣṇa sent the internet just for preaching, I think. It's perfectly suited just for preaching. Can you imagine what Prabhupada would have done with the internet? Oh my God. Well, it's a nice fantasy, but the timing was a little off. So we get to use it in our preaching work. And by this means, we can contact many, many people without having to travel extensively and do so many programs and big organizations and all of this, because this is not our style. Our style is small, intimate, and very, very high quality. So we're very, very sensitive to the quality of the people that we work with. And if someone comes along who wants to create a disturbance, well, we're sorry, but we cannot tolerate that. And the reason is that it's very, very difficult to communicate by words, printed words alone. The internet is a text medium, especially the way we use it on our community site. So if someone starts to disturb that environment, then the clarity of the communication is lost. So we can't afford that, because that means then all teaching work has to stop until that can be cleared up. It's just like, let's say you're looking at a reflection in a pool of water. And then someone comes along and starts agitating the water. Well, of course, the reflection is going to break up into a million little waves and stuff. You won't be able to see the whole picture. It'll be very fragmented and distorted. Similarly, if someone starts to disturb the atmosphere in a spiritual group, the internal communication becomes all scrambled. And you can't straighten it out until you stop that disturbing communication. That's one of the conditions for having an esoteric school. So it's necessary when someone tries to disturb the atmosphere in the school that we basically expel them. You know, to put it crudely or harshly, we have to get rid of them, bounce them, throw them out. Unless they'll take correction. If they'll take correction, if they'll take instruction, if they will, you know, re-examine their priorities and their mode of communication, then we can help them. But if they continue to make offenses, there's nothing that we can do. There's a very interesting story in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the 9th canto, about a great sage, Durvasa Muni. Now, Durvasa Muni was very powerful. He was given a boon by Lord Shiva that he would be the most powerful sage in the universe. So he had many, many disciples, like 10,000 disciples. And he would go all over the place creating trouble. Because he was so powerful, nobody could mess with him. So one day, he went to visit King Ambarish. King Ambarish is a great soul, great Vaishnava. and King Ambarish had been observing Ekadashi. Now, the thing about Ekadashi is you're supposed to fast. When you do first-class Ekadashi, you fast completely. You don't even drink water. So, Ambarish was just about to break Ekadashi. You're supposed to break Ekadashi during the first 2 hours of the following Titi, the Dvadashi Titi. The days in Vedic calendar are denoted by the moon, not by the sun. So, when the moon goes around the earth once every month, that's divided into 27 nakshatras. So when the moon enters one nakshatra, then until the time it enters the next nakshatra, that is one titi. So the titi of Ekadashi, when that ends, on that day with that ends, you have to break the fast within 2 hours. I don't know why exactly.